Alrighty, good morning, happy Wednesday. So this is some guided notes to help you review how to do two-step equations. Technically, this is a 7th grade standard that we're reviewing before we get into the harder stuff, okay? So you should try 1, 2, and 3, reviewing one-step equations, and then check it with the video. So if you haven't done 1, 2, or 3 yet, go ahead and pause this and then come back. All right, so this is what I got for my answers. Remember, you're always doing the opposite of what you see, the inverse operations. The opposite of subtraction is addition. So that is where, we add 8 to both sides to get n equals 11. Negative 2m is multiplication, and the inverse is division. So divide both sides by negative 2 to get m equals positive 12. And then yesterday, you did a video that had rationals. So you were supposed to multiply by the reciprocal, which means you just flip the fraction. So when I flip the fraction, I have 3 halves being multiplied to both sides. And then once you reduce, or you could have done cross reduction, so you only had to take 10 times 3 to get 30. All right, so let's go into our guided notes now. Okay, if I ever go too fast, the nice thing with videos is that you can go ahead and pause it so you can catch up to get what you need. All right, two-step equations means there's like literally 2 steps, okay? Step 1, we are either going to add or subtract the constant from both sides. Now, the constant, let's go ahead. The constant is a number that is without a variable. Technically, we have 2 constants, but we always want to get rid of the one that is on the opposite or on the side with the variable. Okay, so then with that example, if my pen will go, we're going to subtract 8 because that's the opposite of adding on both sides. That's your step 1. Then remember to bring down what has not canceled out. And then 20 minus 8 is 12. Okay. Step 2, you have 2 options of what you're going to be doing. You're either going to divide both sides by the coefficient. Now, your coefficient is a number that is being multiplied with your variable. So our coefficient is this 3. Okay. Now, sometimes you have a fraction or a division, and the opposite of division is we would multiply by the reciprocal. Okay. And remember, the reciprocal means we take a fraction and we flip it over and multiply. And why do we do that? Because we want to isolate the variable. Remember, our variable is the letter in our problem. Okay. All right. So if I have 3x equals 12, the 3 is my coefficient. So I want to divide both sides by 3. The whole reasoning is because 3 divided by 3 makes 1, and they cancel each other out. So then all we have left is our isolated x for our variable. And then 12 divided by 3 is 4. And that gives you your solution, your answer. Okay, if you need to, pause it and catch back up. I have 2 more I'm going to do with you. And then I'm going to ask you to pause so you can do 2 on your own. All right, so looking back at my steps, I either add or subtract first. If it's a 2-step equation, I have subtraction. What's the opposite of subtraction? Addition. So we're going to add 14 to both sides. Okay, that makes those cancel. So I have 6x equals 30. Now sometimes I like to color code so you can clearly see. So now we have a one-step equation. All right, I have a coefficient, a number that's being multiplied with my variable. So I must divide because that is the opposite of multiplication. So I'm going to divide both sides. Whatever you do to one side, you've got to do to the other. Now, if you had Mr. Callan last year, I know he did his a little bit differently. If you want to do like Mr. Callan did last year, where you did it all in one line and rewrote it, that is fine too. Okay. I'm old school. I like my arithmetic going vertically. All right. So then 30 divided by 6 is 5. Now we can always check our work. And how do we check our work? We replace the variable with our solution. So 6 instead of x, I'm going to put a 5. So 6 times 5 minus 14. Does that equal 16? That's what we want to know. Because we're not perfect. We're not calculators. We're humans. So we do make mistakes. Now, if you're not good with your division and multiplication, you can use your Desmos to do that for you. Okay. But on the test, at the end of the unit, you will not be able to use like online computers. They'll be handhelds. All right, so that is number 1. Number 2 looks a little bit different. Instead of multiplication, we have division. But it still does not change what our first step is. What is our first step? Add or subtract. I see addition. What's the opposite of addition? Subtraction. So we're going to subtract on both sides. Okay, so now I have x divided by 3 equals 2. Okay, now it says multiply by the reciprocal. Technically, there's an invisible 1 right there. So when I flip my 1/3, it becomes 3 over 1. And then I multiply on the other side. That makes your 3's cancel because 3 divided by 3 makes 1. And so we have x equals 6. Okay. Replace x with 6 in the original equation. Do not change the order to make your answer work. You will have to use the original form. And then do your order of operations. 6 divided by 3 is 2. And 2 plus 6 is 8. And 8 equals 8. So my answer does work. All right, go ahead and pause the video. And then try these two on your own to see how you do. Okay, hopefully you paused, you did them. And let's see what you should have gotten. Okay, so with the first one, I got A equals 3. And with number 4, I got T equals 25. If you did not get those, look at my work, see where you might have made your mistake. All right, flip your paper over. Here is your activity for today. You have 9 equations to do. Solve the 2-step equations below. Shade your answers. Okay. So make sure you shade your answers in the puzzle at the bottom of the page. The correct solution will reveal the identity of the state that is the largest gold-producing state in the nation. Second in the world behind Africa. So Africa apparently makes the most gold in the whole thing. And of course, always show your work. I'm a very big stickler when it's algebra that you must show your work. All right, I'm going to do number 3 with you because this one's set up a little bit different. If you notice, my variable is not in the first term. My 7 is. My 7 is my constant. And so then what you do is think, well, what is this? Is this a positive 7 or is this a negative 7? Well, it's a positive. And what's the opposite of a positive? A negative 7. So we're going to subtract 7 first on both sides. And then I bring down my 2y, because that's what's left on the left side, because those cancel. And then 21 minus 7 is 14. Now it's multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division. Always use those inverse operations. And y equals 7. So then it looks like we need to find 7 in the bottom. Boom, boom, boom. And then we will shade it in. Okay, so do the best you can shading wise to shade that in. Okay, you have 8 more problems left. Now remember, you still owe me homework for, there's another 7. Apparently we have to do all the 7s. Page 155. I assigned it yesterday. It is due tomorrow. 2 days to do 12 problems. I think you guys should be able to handle that. I did have a couple kids email me last night. They had questions, and I was able to email them back. So if you do have questions, please let me know. And remember to show your work. And odds are in the back of the book for you to check your answers. Alrighty, have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.